Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a tool called Mindstudio. So if you haven't heard about it already, Mindstudio is a tool that allows you to create various AI apps and chatbots, which is basically an alternative to custom GPTs in ChatGPT. The problem with custom GPTs is that you have to pay for access to ChatGPT Plus in order to use it. Meanwhile, Mindstudio is completely free. So let's jump into it. So in order to use Mindstudio, you have to go to the website uai.ai and then click on here. It would be showing you sign in or get started. You have to click on that. Since I've already logged in, it's showing my workspace. So if you once you sign in, this kind of you'll be presented with this kind of user interface. So this is your personal workspace, and so right away there's a AI chatbot. By default, this is running on GPT 3.5, so it's the same thing as the basic chat GPT. But the power of Mindstudio is that you can customize it however you want. So let us customize it a bit more. So to customize it, you have to click on this gear icon right here, and you have to click on Edit AI. So this will take you to a different interface, and this is the page here shown. This interface might intimidate you, but it is actually pretty easy. So the main thing that we are going to look at are the data sources, prompt, and model settings. So first we'll take a look at model settings. So by default, uh, it will set the model to OpenAI's GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is an okay model, but the best model I recommend is Claude 3 Haiku. It is the cheapest model, but it's also one of the best because it is very close to the performance of GPT-4. The current best model in this is Claude 3 Opus, and then next to that is GPT-4. So using those models will use up your credits. You'll be granted $5 of credit at sign up, and I've used it quite a lot, and still I have only used 7 cents. So I still have $4.93 left. So you can see your credit usage right here. Okay. So apart from that, there's the temperature and the max response size. You don't need to change the temperature too much. You can just keep it normal. However, you might want to change the max response size. By default, I believe it's been set to around 300 tokens or something. But I usually set it, the max 4096 tokens because Claude 3 is Haiku is not that expensive, and you can see that token does not necessarily correspond to the words. So 4096 tokens is approximately 3000 words. It may vary depending on the specific sentences, but that's estimate. And so this is the summarization engine. You don't need to worry about these two bits. You can just leave it set it at normal. So the next most important thing is the prompt. Now, the prompt essentially dictates the model's behavior, and this prompt format is something that you have to adhere to. So you can see that in the starting, you have to put a hashtag and an assistant, which is essentially a heading, and then you have to use hyphen for the bullet points, and you have to refer to the assistant in third person. So instead of it being like a normal system prompt where you refer to the assistant in second person, you have to refer to this in third person. So essentially, what we have to refer to it is the role of assistant is to help user. So the role of assistant is the you have to use assistant, the word assistant instead of you. So that's how you can change the system prompt. So for example, we want to add something, we can add it like this. So if you want to make an assistant specifically tailored to your needs, you can just say the assistant is good at some skill, so I can give programming, and so now it will be optimized for programming. And also you can say the assistant can also dictate its behavior. So always explains the code. So this is how you can change the behavior of the assistant. You can stick to this, assistant pre-format, or else you can change it completely. Um, by default, the Mindstudio sets current date, username, and company name if you have entered these in your sign up time. So current date is just the current date, and these double curly brackets indicate variables. So these all three of these are common variables. You don't need to set them up. However, you can also make your own variables, and you can put this in the prompt so that the model will know what you're referencing. So for example, if you set up a variable which contains all the text in a website, you can then reference it. So for example, the variable's name is page. You can say the web page is page. So that's how you can give it information. You can do it within the prompt. So yeah. Now, one of the best things about Mindstudio is its automations, but the thing is, that's too much to cover for one video, and I'm planning to make a follow-up video about it. So if you like this video and want to see a follow-up video about the automations, which are a very cool thing in Mindstudio, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so that I know that this video got a good response. So anyway, automations allow you to do things like sending messages, sending emails, changing documents, stuff like that. They allow you to automate your tasks without you having to do anything, and they're a very cool way to use Mindstudio. But now we're going to focus on the other things. So the next important thing is data sources. So think of data sources as a document that the AI can reference to whenever it wants. Now, the thing about data sources is that they use a concept called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, and so they can't view the entire document at once. So you're not actually adding it to the context. Instead, basically, you're uploading the document, and whenever you're asking a question about it, the assistant will query it, and it will only retrieve the chunks that are useful to answering the question. So you can use this when you want to retrieve some information, but this is not the same thing as fine tuning a model. So this won't improve the model's performance in, say, maths or whatever, programming or whatever you want to train it with. So let us give a name to this data source. So I have already prepared a document. You can upload 150 files in total, and there's a limit of 50 megabytes per file. So I'm going to upload a file that I've already chosen. So this is a research paper about Stable Diffusion 3. So I'm going to give that as the description. So it's currently uploading it, and now it's embedding it. So what this is going to do is convert this document into something called a vector database. A vector database is essentially a database version of the document, and instead of text being stored in it, it's vectors which basically convey meaning to a chatbot. So it's something that AI can understand. So it has loaded, and you can test it by asking a query. So and now this is the thing that is returned. Now it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to us, but because this is being referenced by AI, the AI can understand it, and you can also see the time it finished it in. So this is not the actual answer, but essentially the chunk of the document which has the necessary information to answer it. So essentially this information is going to be queried into the AI, and the AI is going to answer a query based on this. So we can see that it's working. So now that we have a data source, we can preview the uh, AI chatbot. So just click on preview and so okay, wait. Oh, okay. So yeah, I forgot, but we have to put this into the automations. So we have to collect input. So the thing is, the model cannot reference it on its own. We have to, you know, reference it using the automations. So I haven't covered automations yet, but essentially it's a workflow that determines how the AI thinks. So I'm not going to go into too much detail over it, but this is the start and this is the chat, which is basically the next query. So first we're going to collect the user input. So to do that, you can just create a new user input, and I'm going to call this query. Okay. So essentially what you have to do is fill this form. So the type is basically the nature of the input that we are asking the user to give. This is the variable name that we're going to reference, and this is essentially the label. So when the user is interacting with the chatbot, this is what they see. It's like this. And these text values, placeholder text and featured image is optional, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so back to the automations page. So it's going to ask this query, and then we need to query the data. So basically what we're doing is we're going to ask what question the user has with the document, and then we're going to put this into the query data source so it can extract the data from the document. And then after that, we're going to send this to another variable. So this is not the final data, this is just the extracted data that's going to be used by the model. So we're going to name this data, and then after that we're going to send message on behalf of the user. So we're interacting with the chatbot, and this is so we're going to send this message on behalf of the user. And so this query is provided by the user himself, and this data is provided by this query data source right here. So this will send a message on behalf of the user, and based on this data, the model will answer it. So we're going to display this to the user because this is the end result. And so I'll put the sender as the system. So okay, actually I'll leave it to user because that seems to be sending from the system to the user. So yeah, and then after this, if a person has further questions, further follow-up questions, they can chat. So let's remove this because this is the starting. The send message is the starting of the conversation. So we don't need this. And so yeah, now we've built a basic RAG system. So we can preview this. And now, yeah, we can put a question. So now it's querying the data source, and you can see that now it is able to answer the question. And if you feel like we need a follow-up question, we can just click on the next button. And now this is going to turn into a conversation. So you can ask. So using this, you can answer questions from a document. So this may seem like a complicated way to get here because there are lots of websites that allow you to do it for free without any kind of hassle. However, the main advantage to using this is that you can customize it however you want, and you can even customize the system prompt. So we can create a completely new chatbot based on this. So I'm not going to publish this yet because I want to keep the main chatbot as it is. And without changing the personal workspace, we can create a new AI workspace by creating create AI button. And we have a lot of templates here. So you can see that there are lots of things that you can do to it. And in fact, most of these templates are easy to follow. So even if you don't have that much knowledge with Mindstudio itself, you can click on one of these templates and click import, and you're pretty much ready to go. You just have to change a couple of things. So yeah. Another thing that is really helpful is the generate prompt button. So say we want a coding assistant. So you can just provide it a simple one-line explanation of what the AI should do. And with this, you don't need to learn how to prompt it correctly. The model itself will prompt so in the correct format. So you can see it wrote quite a bit, 17 lines in fact. So let's see how good this is. We just preview it as is. So it even gave it a title. Let's see. So here's a simple text replace, and you can see it did it in 8 lines. And looking at the function myself, I can see that it should work. So you can see not only did it give the code, but it also explained it. So usually it wouldn't do this, but since you have prompted it to give it the correct explanation, it gave the explanation for the code. So you can also learn a lot about the code by yourself. So yeah. So this is how you create a custom chatbot within Mindstudio. And with automations, you can do a lot more in fact. So you can send messages through Discord's bot API. You can search through Google and all that kind of stuff. So Mindstudio is a very good platform, and I feel like it is going very underappreciated, especially against OpenAI's custom GPTs. And so I think this is even better than custom GPT simply because it's completely free and we have a lot more control. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Also click the notification bell so that you can be notified when I post new videos. And if I receive enough support for this video, I'm planning to make a follow-up video that walks through the automations so we can create some pretty cool things. Yeah, that's it for today's video.